are all up to speed on what's going on there with that challenge of allowing or not allowing a huge development like the Pebble Mine to take place on Alaskan lands. You hit the nail on the head there with what the challenges are. How can we ensure resource development will be allowed to take place in this state, not just with Pebble Mine, but with the gas line and with opening ANWR and with other resource development proposals that are out there? How can we do that but ensure that Alaska will remain this very clean, very safe place to be? One criteria that we use is if it's an outside company or a group of outside people coming in from maybe the lower 48 states or even from another country coming into Alaska and trying to tell Alaskans what's best, it kind of rubs us the wrong way. And we say, hey, let us look at it. Let our overseeing agencies, for instance, in this case with Pebble Mine, DEC, our Department of Natural Resources, our Fish and Game departments, let Alaskans really dig into the data, to the information, to the development plans, and let us judge for ourselves whether it's going to be best for Alaska's future or not. That's going to be one criteria, especially with this project, is not necessarily believing what outside or foreign countries or foreign companies are going to be telling us what's best for Alaska, but let us and our scientists and our elders in our state, especially our native elders who know the lands and they know the histories and they know nature's cycle here in Alaska also, let us judge for ourselves whether that project's going to be viable or not.
You know, alcohol is a big problem in Alaska. You cannot ignore it. You walk around, you smell it, you see it.
It is.
But you also, you have the changing of the equinox. I mean, you're about to get into, by December 21st, where it's the darkest and the longest day in your state. You know, I could not imagine, given my socialization, living in a place where there's 18 hours of darkness, and the flip side of that, 18 hours of sunlight. It's as if you've come to another frontier that has yet been discovered.
Wow.
How do people adjust to that? That is a huge adjustment. I even had families say they plan all their social events, the theater, the orchestra, during the wintertime so they can just stay busy to sort of keep their sanity.
Oh man, you have to stay busy up here in the winter. Or yeah, I think it is dark, and I've grown up here, but even I recognize that for a lot of people, that just is abnormal to have all those hours of darkness. One thing we do, we sure make up for it in the summertime when it's light pretty much 24 hours a day, and we cram as much outdoor activity as we possibly can in the summer. But the key is, and having grown up here in a very active, very outdoorsy type of family in Alaska, is to stay busy in those winter months. We're out there snow machining and skiing and running even out there in the weather. You've got to get outside. You've got to breathe the fresh air. If you're holed up, you're going to be miserable. If you're holed up in some indoor arena and you're looking outside and it's dark all day long, I think it would be very depressing. And that is why people turn to alcohol, and they turn to these substances that can kind of replace what maybe some in other parts of the world are enjoying at that time of year. So for me, you know, my preaching is people, you got to stay active, you got to get outdoors anyway, and you've got to capitalize on the awesome opportunities that Alaska's wintertime has.
What are the social issues that you face in Alaska that are in line with the issues that most Americans face?
Very good question. Especially in some of our rural areas here in Alaska and some of our smaller villages where some of our young people feel that they just don't have any hope. They don't kind of see this light at the end of the tunnel that I want Alaskans especially to recognize, where they don't think that they have a good job opportunity waiting for them at the end of their schooling years or anything else. Man was created to work. That's what God put us on this earth for, is to contribute and to produce, and men and women should have that opportunity for a good job, and we're doing all that we can in our state administration through resource development proposals to allow job opportunities for Alaskans. But when somebody feels that there is no hope, that they don't have a good job opportunity, I think that's a root problem that manifests itself with the abuse that we see, especially in some rural areas in Alaska, where they turn to abuse and domestic violence and drugs and suicide. We have too high a rate of suicide up here, and we want to change all that because there is that darkness in more ways than one, where they feel maybe they don't have that job opportunity at the end of the line. So we need to do all that we can to help government, help create opportunity. Government can't create jobs, but government can provide tools for the private sector to provide those jobs for Alaskans. And that, I think, is a universal problem.
You know, many people feel that Alaska is a very conservative state. They see it as a Republican state. What about the issues of faith in God, not only in your life, but in terms of what Alaska has become since it came in existence in 1959?
Yeah. Well, faith for me personally is so extremely important. You know, I think that nothing's an accident. I think that everybody has purpose in their life, and you know, I personally want to do all that I can for especially young people to help them find that purpose, to kind of find that destiny that they're created to do and to accomplish, because everybody has divine destiny, and everyone can be productive. I want to do all I can to help there. But the state of Alaska also, remember, when we became a state less than 50 years ago, we struck deals with the federal government where we said we were going to be as self-reliant as possible. We said, let us into the union, let us become a state, and we're not going to rely on you, federal government, to pay our bills or to provide services and projects for the state. Well, we haven't quite gotten there. You know, we are heavily reliant on the federal government. So what we need to do is keep our end of the bargain, and the federal government needs to keep their end of the bargain there on why we became a state. Through resource development, the state of Alaska is supposed to be providing revenue, generating revenue from development in order to quit being so reliant on the federal government. And the founders of our Constitution and our Statehood Compact Act, I think they were so providential 50 years ago when they wrote our Constitution, striking those deals with the federal government, where they said, okay, we're going to develop these God-given resources here in this state to help the people who live here and ultimately help the rest of the nation, because we're so rich in oil, natural gas, minerals. We should be providing these resources, a stable, safe domestic supply of energy for the rest of the United States. Instead of the United States relying on foreign sources of energy, Alaska can be the leader in energy policy. We should be allowed to be able to do that. I think it was all very providential how we even became a state, and what it is that Alaska is to be doing to be contributors, not takers from the rest of the United States of America, but contributing our resource wealth into the rest of the United States to secure our nation.
You know, obviously, your being mayor of your hometown was a boon for you.
Yeah.
How has that impacted and enhanced what you've become today?
Being mayor and manager of that city, Wasilla, and it became the fastest growing area of the state of Alaska, the principles that I implemented there in governing, I'm doing the same thing here in the state of Alaska. This is a larger scale, but what we did there in Wasilla, we tried to get government out of the way of private sector progress. So we got rid of business license inventory fees, we got rid of personal property taxes, we got rid of annoying little things that government in the past had been just expected to do, to mandate to the marketplace, how development was going to take place. I said, no, let's try something different. Let's get government out of the way. And it worked. The progress that you see out there in the Mat-Su Valley, it worked because we were able to invite businesses to come on into our city then, because we had literally, our message was, and we were going to walk our walk, not just talk our talk. We were going to say, we are open for business. We wanted businesses to choose to be in Wasilla instead of outside our city limits or in any other community where they could have been, and that has worked. We spurred a lot of development just by getting government out of the way and not over-regulating the place. And a lot of people chose then to move there, and a lot of businesses chose to move into Wasilla. And we were able to do that, and things then like zoning laws and aesthetics that you want to see to help improve a community, the quality of life, they kind of took care of themselves then when that message was sent and received that government was going to help the private sector. We weren't going to mandate to the private sector what should or shouldn't happen. We were able to do that, and I had a very helpful city council. We all happened to be all on the same page there, being pro-private sector, and we want to incorporate the same type of principles in the state of Alaska.